California, Mr. Takano.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank all the witnesses for being here today, and I want to ask Dr. Harper, do students and faculty benefit when an institution of higher education is socioeconomically and racially diverse?
Absolutely.
How so?
Well, for one, let's talk about research. When there is diversity represented among the researchers, people are able to bring different points of view, for sure, but they're also able to bring, different considerations for groups that otherwise would not be top of mind for researchers, and ultimately, really good researchers might produce research that ultimately has negative impacts on the forgotten about population. So it is really important to have people at the table to hold us accountable for thinking about Americans who make institutions diverse. So that's one. Secondly, this whole notion of prejudice reduction. One of the things that is irrefutable is that each of us has implicit bias. We all have it, right? But that implicit bias is reduced as we have more sustained, meaningful interactions with people from different groups. So, that helps us to not go into, say, students, right? Students don't go into the professions then reproducing sexism, racism, homophobia, transphobia, and so on, because they've had the benefit of interacting with people from those various groups when they were undergraduate students. So that ultimately has positive effects, not just on the campuses themselves, but also on our economy and on our democracy.
So that's another way of saying that conversations that happen in a classroom can change prejudgments, prejudice, fixed notions we might have had about certain types of people.
They have to be repeated, sustained, and high quality.
So, do only racial minorities benefit from a diverse institution?
Absolutely not. In fact, multiple research studies have repeatedly confirmed that white students actually benefit even more from their interactions in a diverse learning environment.
Wonderful. So why might an institution want to cultivate a student body, faculty, and curriculum that intentionally includes diverse perspectives?
Because that institution would not want to be responsible in sending college graduates into the world underprepared to live, learn, and work and lead diverse teams, right? I think higher education institutions really have a responsibility to ensure that students are prepared.
Well, great. So the university in my district, the University of California, Riverside, UCR, is one of the most racially and ethnically diverse universities in the nation. And I'm proud to say was ranked #1 in the United States for social mobility of its graduates. A large portion of UCR students are low-income, first-generation college students, student veterans, transfer students, and/or racial minorities. University of California, Riverside's success is in part due to the robust support that these students get as they navigate college, including through the campus ethnic and gender centers, the Veterans Resource Center, and funding programs and more. Dr. Harper, what does research show about the retention, success, and graduation rates for students who have access to these types of resources?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked this question. This is one of the strongest areas of research that make, again, irrefutably clear that when campuses have those kinds of resources, that they enrich the college experience, they make the campuses safer for students who are more susceptible to violence, discrimination, harassment, and abuse. They become spaces where students can go for affirmation, they could go for a sense of belonging, so on and so forth. So those kinds of centers and spaces are critically important to the retention and success of highly qualified, academically capable college students who make campuses diverse.
I was going to ask you why is it important to make those resources available to students, but you've pretty much answered that question. As a follow-up, I wonder if you wouldn't mind citing some of your resources for that research before the committee right now, since we seem to be equating a lot of anecdotal evidence from the right with robust longitudinal peer-reviewed study today?
Sure. In the 2 seconds that we have remaining, I will just say that there are 3 books that are about this big, titled How College Affects Students. Pasquarella and Terenzini were the original authors, and Matthew Mayhew at Ohio State and his colleagues produced the 3rd volume. These are compendiums of research, peer-reviewed studies that consistently and increasingly show the educational benefits associated with diversity, equity, and inclusion in higher education.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yield back, and I appreciate your forbearance.
Thank you so much.